Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It means it's time for Gardening Inside Out, coming to you from the Green Room Studios here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. It's going to be an action day, David Bates. There's going to be a no excuses day. You got to get outside. Hey, see what's going on in the yard, right?
That is absolutely correct. And
I knew I was right.
You know, the weather conditions, fortunately, for everyone's sake, are improving. We've gone through a week of 100-degree temperatures, and that certainly has gives us the incentive to say goodbye to August in the best fashion we possibly can. So we're prepared to do that. Today is, of course, August 31st, the last day of August, and we are expecting chance of thunderstorms today. We could use that.
Boy,
92 degrees for the high temperatures today, and perhaps some afternoon thunderstorms. 3/4 of an inch. That looks pretty attractive right now. We've got dry conditions. We really need to get some rain in here. The cooler temperatures are certainly going to be helpful. Tomorrow, 85, and again, slight chance of thunderstorms. Nothing very significant as we roll into the early part of the week. We do stay in the 80s, 89 both Monday and Tuesday, with somewhere between mostly sunny and mostly cloudy conditions. And then by midweek, we do get a pretty significant change. High temperatures, only 80 degrees Wednesday, only in the 70s possible. Is that possible?
Possible.
On Thursday.
Uh-huh.
And then on Friday, we are expecting 82 degrees. So if we could get some of that rain that's projected by the latter part of next week, it would be awesome, because we are experiencing dry conditions. This is the first month this year, I believe, where we have not received at least 4 inches of rain. We'll get to the monthly rainfall totals here. Here's the map as it's currently eastern U.S. predominant here on this shot. Quite a bit down south. You do see a bit of conditions out to the west of us. That could be some of the late afternoon developing thunderstorms that come into the area. We will look again at our weather station data here at Bates Nursery and let you know that, for whatever reason, my connection is not working really well, but we have not received rainfall this week at all. Just a smattering of rain through the month, less than an inch. So unless we get a significant amount today, or we're going to wind up the month being pretty off the mark compared to the other months this year. But hopefully that will change reasonably fast, and we'll get back into some more seasonable rainfall conditions and wet, temperatures that are going to be much more accommodating. So it's about time to shift those gears and get into the fall landscape mode, because that's where it's at. That's where we want to be.
Well, and it rained weird in Smyrna. Now, there's lots of weird things go on in Smyrna.
When you say weird in Smyrna,
I understand. But west side of Old Nashville Highway, got a deluge. Beautiful drop, beautiful. Filled up the ditches even to a little bit. East side, nothing. Which side is my house on? East side. East.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy, but we need it. So bring it on. Because
we'll just take what we can get at this point.
What will the temperature be on Rocky Top up at about 3 or 4 hours, David?
Well, that'll be all good.
Hot.
But that's coming up later, because right now, front and center, we've got the entire crew here, Gardening Inside Out. We're very glad, as always, to have Caroline Gant, Austin Lowen alongside. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good
Tyler had
morning
us muted.
That was my sad little bad. Okay. Good morning.
There you go.
Tyler.
His live
There he
usual
is.
self.
You
We
look
love
great
you, Tyler.
today.
Do I?
Dude, you're
Am I glowing?
Did you
You're
get
glowing.
some sleep last night?
A little. Happy to be here.
Good.
As are we. So happy to be here. We all are a little bit tired, I would say, from the big pottery sale yesterday.
Oh, we had a blue pottery sale yesterday, y'all. I mean, a lot of you know about it because you were out here buying stuff.
I think all of you might know about it.
The pottery, the parking lot was full of blue pottery, and a lot of us were moving and putting blue pottery in small cars. It was great. It was like Tetris with pots yesterday. Some lady bought like 12 pots, and she was like, "Oh, by the way, I've got a Prius."
Oh,
We're
no.
like, okay.
You can fit a lot more in a Prius, though. Tyler's got one than you think you could.
We fit it all in there. Nobody had to go home and then come back, okay? We pride ourselves in getting it in one trip. And man, we sold a lot of pottery.
The trick is to tie the ropes, and you have to get customers in the car first, and then you tie the ropes through the doors. Okay, so that's it. We learned that trick at the lumberyard a long time ago.
Because you hate to have to duct tape them in after the doors are closed. But, you know, fortunately, everyone got home, and we trust they got home safely, and we'll be talking more about what remains of that sale later on in the program. But I guess the first order of business is it's been a difficult week heat-wise. Everyone has been stressed due to it, and the forecast that I just talked about does give us all hope for things being better in the coming days. So anybody got any goodbyes to August they want to make to say, hey, all right, we're ready for fall now?
I'm ready for you to be gone, August. That's what I've got.
Yeah, August is done.
It's been so hot.
Done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this past week was brutal. Very brutal. But hey, we're getting into that fall. I feel it, y'all. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel the uptick. Yesterday there was an uptick of people because of the pottery sale for sure. But there was other people buying plants, and they're like ready to go. It's like we're gearing up.
Fall planting
Got trucks.
time.
We had I don't know how many trucks this week, getting us back full.
Right.
So and it's the fall planting season, y'all. The gardens need to get planted. We got to get broccoli, lettuce, cabbages, all that stuff out. I think this is probably the week to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, for me personally, this year compared to this time last year, where I was still actively working in this parking lot project from last year, which I'm so grateful that one is behind.
Oh boy.
The paving project we did this year, while it was not a nothing project, we were able to accomplish it in the month of July. So now, essentially a month removed from the completion of that one, we've got the lot all back in shape. We're still getting things in that are filling our selection out. But one thing everyone can rest assured is that you come out here, you're going to find things that you're looking for your gardens, for your landscape, any project you've got that you're trying to figure out how to get done. We not only have the products, we have the expertise. We're going to help you get answers to your situation and help you find something that really works best for your particular application. So that's the way we do it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was a really unusual year again. I think this is 2 in a row where you had stuff in the veggie garden in particular. I had zero luck with cucumbers. I've had zero luck with peppers this year for some reason.
Oh, my peppers have done great this year.
Zero luck, Josh. You just had bad luck.
I had awful luck. Yeah, that's
Zero luck.
okay.
It was bad.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of funny. I mean, I'm no different. I did not have a good year with peppers, like I never do. I don't know why I don't.
You never grow them.
It's
Because you
too
live in a
wet.
bog. We've
I
talked
know,
about
it's
this.
too wet. I don't live in a bog. It's just wet. It stays a little moist. But my cucumbers, money. Just
Really?
Oh man, money.
man.
My cucumber's terrible.
I know.
They died
See?
right at the top.
We're all different,
my
but we're all in this together.
This was the best year for my peppers.
See?
They're going strong still.
Didn't matter if it was in the ground or in a pot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just an onion. And usually there's particularly the death peppers, because I took advantage of a sale earlier this year and got some death peppers. I have not seen one on any of those. Those were in pots, though.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Still,
Yeah.
every year's different with gardening.
Well, those kinds of things are perhaps a contributing factor to high food prices that you may see when you go into the stores. I mean, nothing is cheap anymore, and vegetable things that you can grow for yourself are not the exception. So obviously it's probably one of the things that people who are into gardening and growing things in their own space for their own consumption are really keen on doing it the very best they can. So we just call it the way it is. We're not going to do happy talk and say, well, everything's wonderful and rosy. We're going to talk about problems where they exist and
Well, I'm
try
gonna
to come up with our collective experience on ways to deal with whatever you're dealing with as well as what we're dealing with. We're gardeners too. We have problems in the garden, and what we try to do is to work on solutions, give the best result possible.
Well, I'm gonna crop rotate. Yeah, I'm gonna rotate crops next year completely. I think I'm gonna redo some of my above ground garden because I've used the corner blocks so it's going to be easy to move. I bought some red clover seed last weekend, so I think I'm going to put in a cover crop for the winter.
Cool.
Go farmer, man.
Hey,
I love clover cover crops.
Yes.
Do you, Tyler?
Yes.
Do you do it every year?
Every year.
It's
nice.
Almost.
And it's absolutely
in a little
gorgeous.
patch somewhere.
Yeah,
it is gorgeous, and the bees hum on it in the spring when they're in bloom. The bees are just out. So good practices,
I'm
Josh.
of the belief that a lot of other people out there have questions.
Yes.
Caroline, am I right about that?
You are right. You are very right. Let's start talking about fall gardening, vegetable gardening. Our first question is timing for planting for a fall garden. Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. It's like the kind of the front end of it. Last week, probably timing wise, would have been probably a good way to do it, except for we had 100-degree temperatures. Oof. So we kind of had to avoid last week, even though timing wise, that was probably the way to go. But I think this week is the week to do it. Okay, we're still seeing low 90s, high 80s, but the nighttime temps are dropping a little bit, so it's going to keep those plants from bolting. But we've got to, with the amount of time we've got left in the season, we've got to get them in.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're definitely going to be too late. So we've got them. We got plenty that look good. It's time to get them in now.
How about, can I plant kale seeds now?
Yes. Kale seeds will jump almost any time of the year as long as the weather's okay. But
what do you mean by okay?
I mean, not like, brutal, not like stupid hundreds and then or awful cold.
They need a little humidity too, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
it's dry. Last week was awful.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're keeping those seeds kind of moist on top of the, on top, once they germinate, getting kale up and growing from seed is extremely easy.
It's so easy.
All of the greens, really.
I had a kale plant for 2 years that looked like a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, I pulled it out, but it was great.
Well, I think
harvest of the winter.
Yeah, I think technically they're all like biennials. So typically they're going to grow the first season, not necessarily set seed, and then the second season they'll set their seed, and that's what a biennial is.
It got huge.
Oh, they can be trees,
and it was pretty gorgeous.
They'll reseed all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't let it. I mean, I'm sure it reseeded, but I didn't let any of the little babies come up. How about, when should I pull out my tomato plants? I'm about ready, even though mine are still producing.
Yeah,
they are getting crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's
out of control.
That's kind of the thing. It's kind of up to you. Like, are you done with them? Are they done with you? Like, are they producing fruit anymore?
How can you tell if they're done with you?
They're not giving you any more red fruit anymore. They're just being annoying and just
size
leggy.
Gets a little smaller.
The size gets smaller. Yeah. Now, if you're still getting if you're still getting fruit and you want your fruit, leave your tomatoes. Okay. If you're done with them and you need the space for your fall veggies, if that's the thing that's going on, they're pretty much not going to produce all that much anymore, y'all. It's not like going to be a ton of fruit coming on. You might get one or two here or there. So if they're taking up a lot of space in your garden, which they typically do, then go ahead and get them out.
Mine are still producing and going crazy, but I'm ready to start my fall stuff.
Everybody's sick of cherry tomatoes anyway.
Taking them all out. Maybe just taking out most of them and save one, because you can still get a few tomatoes along the way that are going to give you, a reasonably good result. So I know people who occasionally get tomatoes all the way into December.
Wow.
With a little cover. So, you might not want to ditch all of them, but create some space for other things that are more seasonable.
I had to take a phone call the other day of a guest, and she sent some emails in of some pictures of her tomatoes. And she's a first-time grower of tomatoes, so she's never, ever grown a tomato before. Okay,
bless her heart.
And she had a tomato
Everybody has to start somewhere, Josh.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
understand.
That's
I've
right.
been there.
But she was growing them in one of those
raised beds.
No,
Grow
it was a grow bag. Yeah,
There
that's
you
exactly
go.
what it was, which is a great way to
Yeah.
grow plants for sure. And she had a plant, and I looked at it, and I'm like, this plant is huge. It was like 7 foot tall. It was a cherry tomato, of course. And it was like 7 foot tall. But what she was seeing was lots of black and yellow leaves at mainly the base of the plant, but also working up. But then I also saw a whole bunch of like green, yellow, and red fruit all on the plant. And I had to call her and be like, look. She was like, oh my God, my plant over the past week, it's just started dying. I don't know what to do or whatever. And I'm like, ma'am, have you harvested, fruit through the season? She's like, oh yeah, I've gotten tons of fruit. And I'm like, well, look, clean up that plant. It'll look way better. It's going to be fine. I was like, we're not trying to eat the leaves. I don't
Right.
care about them leaves.
Right.
Like a tomato plant does not need near as many leaves as you think it does.
Well, you
but
talk
it was
about
still
that
producing fruit.
That grower that we pass on our way home. That strips off the leaves and really just lets the energy go to the fruit.
Oh yeah, he barely leaves any leaves on.
And hopefully she won't use the cherry tomato success as her benchmark because they are if you want to get a kid involved in gardening, I think that's the one you need to plant.
Oh
man, they would, because they're gonna produce every year.
Oh yeah, and if it's anything like my kids, they don't even make it into the house.
Right.
I mean, those cherry tomatoes are getting eaten before they're ever. I mean, and they're just throwing.
Send them to
fruit
my
like
house. I have
crazy.
so many. I've stopped harvesting most of them.
That's what happens a lot of times. Late
there's
August
just-
comes around, you're like, I don't want to
It's
pick those.
covered, and I'm just like, I don't want to get out there. Plus, they're just like growing like this and all over the place. I have them in raised beds, and they're going crazy. So I have to really get in there to get them.
That's what they do.
And I'm tired of eating
My
tomatoes.
neighbor loves me because he waits until about the end of July because he never puts one in because he knows that I'm going to say, "Hey, go get all you want."
Yeah.
man." So
That's nice
Go
of you.
harvest all you want.
get all you need. Yeah.
They're growing so easy this year. We got a question about potatoes. How do I know when it's time to harvest my potatoes?
Start digging. I mean,
Start
literally, you
digging.
start digging. I mean, I've heard a lot of times people will say like, when the potatoes go to flower and they start to set their seed, which is a green little fruit atop of the, the foliage, is a good time to think about digging. But honestly, potatoes are a fairly quick crop. You're talking 55, 65 days in that kind of range. So you kind of know when you plant them. And then once you get to that 65, 60-day mark, you literally just dig one and you see where they're at. You dig, far out around the foliage so you don't cut into a potato. And just know you're probably going to cut into a potato. Okay? I've harvested potatoes a lot in my life, and there's
So many?
rarely been a time where I didn't slice a potato right in half whenever I was going to harvest.
Not this guy.
Not you,
Oh,
Tyler.
are you perfect
No.
when you
Oh,
harvest
you're a
potatoes?
perfect potato.
I stick my hands
Planter?
in the loose dirt container.
Look at you.
But if it's in the clay dirt of Tennessee, just growing in the ground, I mean, you got to dig
I
'em.
grow mine in buckets
That's a good way to do it.
or dog food bags. I've done that
Austin,
before.
are you kidding me?
Tyler, tiny Tyler.
Yeah, I'm
Me too.
Oh, right.
I'm a dignified little container potato gardener.
I know you are.
I like having it nice and loose and roomy
Well,
because I feel like the potatoes have to like
swell.
yeah.
And
it's easier to displace the dirt when it's like that.
You're right. I mean, you're just kind of like carrots, like potatoes are going to swell and get bigger and fatter and nicer whenever they have more loose soil. We don't always have that, but
Not here.
So,
Definitely
like I said,
not here.
But when it comes to when, you got to just kind of trial one. You don't just grow one potato.
I grow a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, you grow like 20, 30 potatoes, and that way you have a whole bunch that you can save and store or whatever. But you got to just dig one. Got to get in there and see where you're at.
You can't store them unless you got a root cellar, right?
A root
A
cellar.
root cellar.
Root. Okay.
I'm growing potatoes this year. I haven't harvested them
Never
yet.
tried.
Oh, they're
Really?
so easy.
Yeah.
and
So
easy.
easy.
They're kind of fun because you're just thinking about what's growing underneath the soil instead of like watching what's up
Because
top.
it's such a beautiful plant.
Particularly like
mean,
the
it-
container
I
growing
like it.
technique.
Yeah, it's way. And then I pile more dirt on top. Keep on getting it higher and
Yeah,
higher.
just keep adding it to it. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
a practice actually that people do is like old tires.
Right.
People will plant potatoes in old tires and then you can add a tire to it and then
Yep.
add more dirt to it because the more dirt you put around the stems, the more it's going to root and then the more potential potatoes.
There's some
Exactly.
great big pots out
and
there on sale
you-
that you could add that to, and then you
Use the tires and
can use the
you
tires.
can add those tires in different order, successive years, and that gives new meaning to rotating your tires.
There you go.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yep,
there
yep,
it is.
you got it.
And that's why I do dog food bags, even though they're not pretty. You can just keep piling and get real deep with it. And it's free if you have dogs.
And then at the end you just dump out the bag and
There
you've got
you
the
go.
potatoes.
Or just slice it open
That's
and they
right.
all go
and they
everywhere.
all spill. That's a great idea. Actually.
Brilliant.
I
Thank
like
you.
It.
It's not, again, it's not very attractive, but if you can put other plants around it, it works.
Any particular dog food type?
Just whatever you got.
Okay, whatever.
you got. Make
Roy
sure you
would
poke holes in it,
Okay,
though, so
okay.
it can drain. Then we've got a question about strawberries. I've noticed runners from ever-bearing strawberry plants I purchased from Bates in Spring and planted. How do I cut and plant those runners? And the berries have been delicious. Thank you.
Good. It sounds like you're growing great plants. They're sending out fruit and runners, so they're happy and healthy. Good for you. Really, all you're going to do is just snip those where the stem comes out, they'll lead to a new little plant. You're going to snip it right there. And honestly, you can take the whole stem. Like, that stem's not needed. So you're just after the other plant that's already been formed by that runner. So just snip it back a little bit and then plant that new, the little plant where you want it.
New little pup.
And then
Could you
keep it
just
moist.
cover it with dirt?
You can put dirt around it, it'll root. Oh, certainly. I mean, in nature, that's what happens.
Right.
Sends out a runner, the plant will sit atop of the ground. As long as there's moisture around it, it'll root and form a whole new plant right there. So you don't necessarily have to cut it all, but it depends on where you want your strawberries.
We've had one everbearing strawberry that we got way back, David, right after we moved into the house there in Smyrna.
Yep.
And we have one left because I did it kind of like we put it right at the very front of the bed so it would be decorative. But we have one little baby left with us from all that
minimal
time.
decorative benefit.
Well, I mean, the squirrels absolutely love it. So, I mean, I don't think we've had at least 4 or 5 berries on it.
Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
The squirrels are very tough.
There you go.
know what? One thing will give you the best competitive advantage, though, Josh, is to make sure you have the right soil to have your plants growing in, be it everbearing strawberries or just landscape material.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the best results consistently when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we're very proud to be a seller and supplier of Earth Mix garden products, and as are many independent garden centers around the Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, all around the area. And if you go to the map of Earth Mix, you can go to earthmix.net and just click on the Find Earth Mix tab. And once you're there, you'll see the map will come up and it'll give you the complete picture of everywhere it is obtainable. You'll see there's one location way over here, Victory Gardens in Meridian, Idaho, and all over Tennessee, Kentucky, even into western North Carolina and northern Alabama. No matter where you go, you're going to be able to find them around, and more locations are on the way. The Earth Mix difference, beyond being simply 100% organic, is that it gives you growing performance that you just don't get with other soils. It is really optimized for its productivity, what you're going to gain from growing plants in it, and how well and viable those plants are going to do. People who have planted an Earth Mix this year, particularly through a harsh summer like we have been going through this last month in particular, know how much it helps you in their ability to be able to maintain adequate moisture levels and to keep the plant viable and healthy. So when you're making the decision on what to plant with, it does make a difference. Choose Earth Mix garden products, available at all the locations we looked at on the previous screen. You can either put your address in, or you can simply zoom into a location nearest you. Just remember this: success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you supporting the brand, and the results that you get from it, we believe, are going to be something that you can be proud of and keeps you gardening with a minimum amount of effort. We don't want there to be an excessive amount of work, nor do we want you to have failures that are associated with it. So check it out at earthmix.net, Earth Mix garden product, and we thank you for giving us a moment to talk about that and to bring you the best in gardening information, of which we feel strongly that Earth Mix is one of those things, Josh.
Absolutely. Sunshine, Earth Mix, water, and plants. It's all you need every time.
That's right.
And we've got all that.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah, all that here.
We've had a lot of sunshine lately, though.
Yes.
Been a little too much sunshine lately. We had some shade yesterday,
What a
which was
change.
nice. All right, let's take a little shift and talk about trees. My hornbeam is dying at the top. It's been in ground for 2 years in full sun. Why is this happening?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure, and I wonder what dying means. I mean, die back is one thing. I know that, hornbeams are extremely tough, y'all. Like, really easy plants to grow, and it's been in the ground for 2 years, so that's a good thing. And it seems like if it's just at the top, Maybe it might be an insect issue, which happens. I mean, definitely tent caterpillars and like fall webworms are very apparent right now. But the thing is that you would see that. You would see literally webs and worms and stuff at the top, like in a tent. So that would be, if that's what's happening. Could be other insects going on, but like it's rare for a hornbeam to die. I need some pictures on this. I need more. I don't know where.
How much water?
Send that photo to gardeninginsideout@gmail.com.
Please do. I'll call you
Austin
personally.
loves to. So if you would like a phone call from Austin himself, leave your phone number and he will give you a call.
I will.
Bates.
I love calling people.
He does.
Talking
He
about
does.
plants.
Not a 900 number either. So
No,
it's not. Okay.
He doesn't like emailing.
I don't do that.
He
no.
does not do
Tyler
that.
handles the emails with the pictures, or Caroline shows them to me, and then I'm like, okay, give me them digits, and I'm gonna call you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call you,
And
or
like
we
two-
have to type it out while he tells us what the issue is. Yeah.
He's
Like
old
A
fashioned.
2-minute conversation will go to 10 real quick because we're talking about other stuff.
I've got
It's all
webworms
good.
on a redbud this year.
Got what?
Webworms on a redbud.
That's a tongue twister. Say it again,
Webworms
Josh.
on a
Webworms on a webworm.
Webwood.
Josh, webworms and tent caterpillars, they're not like all that specific. They can be on almost anything. And
I
like,
get them on some limelights every year. Same limelight every year, and I remove them.
Interesting. See, like on a limelight, like you never know really what they're going to be on. We had some here at the nursery on a persimmon tree.
Really?
Just covered it.
My persimmon is loaded up with fruit this year.
Yeah.
It's insane. I was talking to Ann about it, and she works in the office, and she said hers has like 3 or 4 fruit on it. That's what mine had last year, and this year it's got like at least 30,
Yeah.
30 to 40. It is
Wet
covered.
spring. Yeah, the wet spring. We had one in
It's
another
so
home.
happy.
But wait until they fall to the ground.
Yes.
Don't eat them.
Don't eat them early. They are weird if you eat them unripe.
Weird is the word.
Is that an Asian persimmon, Caroline?
I don't know what it is. It was unmarked when I got it.
No, you got
Buck
just
a gallon sale.
How
here.
big are they?
You have our native.
Little
Do
bitty
I?
ones?
Yeah.
How do you?
I remember
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, golf ball size. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
big.
awesome.
Yeah.
Corgis love them, by the way.
Oh,
Absolutely.
they have a good. I hear deer love them. Now I kind of regret planting
Deer
it
definitely.
close to my house where all of my
Makes
plants
that meat
are.
taste so good when they eat those.
But I got woods everywhere. It'll be fine.
There you go.
All right. Speaking of things falling from the trees, how to combat woolly aphids from my big trees and shrubs. You can't. They're everywhere right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and you
I
cannot.
see them in everybody's hair and clothing here at the nursery. People are covering them right now.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. I get in my beard constantly throughout the day. Like y'all, you can't really combat woolly aphids. You can take care. Say you have a big hackberry tree and you want to take care of it and use like a systemic insecticide, which is super stout, very environmentally not necessarily great.
No.
You can treat your one tree or your 2 or 3 trees, whatever. But there's hackberries next door and there's another one next door, and the woolly aphids are literally everywhere. They're littering the sky right now. It looks like little snowflakes all throughout the sky. That's what's happening. Like, you're not going to combat that. I'm sorry. It's an invasive, nasty pest that is here, and it's something we're going to have to deal with every single year, and this is the time when they're flying.
Covering my car with.
And the
nasty
amount,
know,
go ahead, David.
Well, I was going to say probably the best way to deal with them is if you could, to Austin's point of your neighbors having the same problem trees as you have, is if you could get neighbors all together and spray these trees with dormant oil, but do it as a collective. Maybe the whole neighbor people. If say you all live on a cul-de-sac or whatever, get all the trees sprayed with dormant oil at the beginning of the season. Then you have a reasonable chance of control, and it's not super expensive, particularly if you're splitting it up amongst several families, and it also is not this real toxic poison. You're just smothering them.
Right.
So the paraffinic oils do a great job at that, and they don't do any environmental harm. So, and they don't harm the applicator or the people who live around the trees. So there's that approach, but you got to think very proactive on that. If you wait until you see the problem, then you only have the application that Austin was talking about doing a systemic, and those are really expensive.
Very.
So,
and it takes quite a bit of it for a large-sized tree.
And
too.
they're only going to control the ones that they're only going to control the ones you apply it to. So there's that.
There's that. But you know what there also
There's
is? Tyler.
What's in bloom with Austin?
Hey.
Is there still stuff in bloom?
You know there is. I didn't think I was going to have a great list today, but I ended up getting up a pretty good one. You know, there's still some stuff going, but some things that are kind of on their way out. In front of me, Caroline brought this in. Sedum is really pretty right now. Okay, Sedum is like
the sedum
full
is
bloom.
so good.
That's a beautiful plant. I'm glad you brought that in. Hosta still going, but almost out. The same with Echinacea and Black-Eyed Susan. Those are starting to fade. Y'all need to deadhead if you haven't, because those black blooms are annoying me.
I like them.
Okay,
I'm leaving
the
mine.
upright garden phlox is still going. All your kind of purples, blues, pinks, whites, all those still looking good. Hey, anemone. What you know about anemone? It's a windflower. It's beautiful. It blooms in the fall.
It blooms in the shade.
Well, ish in the fall. Right now is like when it's blooming into the fall. So that's awesome. If you're not growing an anemone, you're doing something wrong, because it is a beautiful plant.
Yep.
And it spreads from little underground rhizomes. Like, it's so cool. I love anemone, okay?
Anemones.
Yes. Told me hers is still blooming. The orange, the milkweed, the monarch butterflies, they're all about it, okay? Russian sage is a soft blue. It's Mediterranean. It's looking great. Love the Russian sage. Hey, homestead purple verbena. That's a perennial verbena, which is weird, a little ground cover that blooms, and it's still throwing some blooms right now. Hey, shout out, Adam, you love Abelia. Abelia, still going. Looking pretty good. I like Abelia. It's okay, but it lives. Abelia lives. Okay, St. John's wort. What a beautiful little yellow flower. Not necessarily my favorite plant. It's a little bit rangy, a little bit but the bloom is beautiful, okay? What? You got something to say?
I love that plant. All forms of it. I
love the bloom.
Rangy.
It's rangy. It's fine.
Maybe
okay, but it's followed by red berries, which is kind of cool. I do like that. I think birds like them a lot.
Yes,
maybe
they do.
Okay, roses are looking good right now. Roses are in a good little stage right now. Okay, sunflowers still going off, looking big. Hey, canna lily's still going. God, it's been a month, even longer than a month probably. Canna lily's still blooming, looking good. Your endless summer collection, hydrangeas, the blues, the pinks, up and blooming, looking nice. Panicle hydrangeas still going. Limelights. All of those
still
panicles still happening. Hey, shout out Ann in the office. Bush lespedeza.
Oh, her favorite.
Bush lespedeza. That's a cool plant. Y'all Google that plant. You don't even know anything about it. Bush lespedeza is a very cool plant. It blooms, like I said, starting this time of year into the fall, and not a lot of shrubs are doing that right now. So cool plant. Your mimosa still barely going off. Some still are, some still aren't. That's okay. Vitex, if you cut them back, are back in full show. If you didn't cut them back, they're throwing a little sporadic bloomies here and there.
What
Vitex,
kind?
little sporadic bloomies.
Okay.
Yes, that's the botanical term.
Austin just danced live on air.
I didn't dance.
You did.
No, I've never danced. Okay, crepe myrtle. Crepe myrtle obviously still going. We all know that. Rosa Sharon, your hibiscus syriacus still going, looking good. Hey, let's go to the vines. Crossvine, yours is blooming. My clematis still blooming as well. A rebloom from both of them.
Look
so
at 'em.
we're not going to argue today. They're both good plants. They're both reblooming. Okay, we're feeling nice today.
Wow, how amicable.
I know.
We
Taking
had a
the high
discussion
road.
before the show, and we said, listen.
We did.
Did you?
We did.
Did you come to an accord?
We did. And then passion flower. Passion flower still throwing some blooms, but mainly throwing them maypops. That's what they do. The maypop blooms, okay? Hey,
mine's covered. I have so much fruit on my good ones.
There you go. The natives, ironweed, Joe Pye weed, goldenrod still going off. Hey, if you cut back catmint, it is reblooming right now, so that's cool. Hey, a cool little thing, alliums. You know, my alliums in the full sun are done blooming. My alliums that are in kind of heavy shade are blooming a lot right now. So that's kind of cool. It's like site selection where you put the same plant is going to bloom at different times. So just know that. All of our annuals, y'all, I'm going through these fast. Lantana, petunias, begonias, coleus, marigold, zinnias, vinca. All those. Sun-loving, hot-loving, looking great. And let's go to what's happening this time of year. Mums came in. We have mums. Hey, we have pansies. They came in. And then to round it all up, your pumpkins. Hey, it's coming into fall. Pumpkins are blooming. I got a big field of pumpkins close to my house. Some guy just growing them. They're throwing fruit, but they're also throwing blooms, and that's
spicy.
And
what's
that's it.
in bloom.
Tyler, do you have some photos?
What? Do I have some photos? Yes, I do.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right?
It's wild. So I
What we
sent
got?
Tyler a photo of my crossvine. Look how thick it is.
Gorgeous.
And I got home yesterday and I was pretty surprised at the number of blooms. So this typically only really blooms for me heavily in the spring, but I've got a good good bloom action going on
That's
right
good
now.
bloom
respectable
action.
right
Good
there.
bloom action.
Yeah.
I love it. Look at that privacy little screen.
The density,
It is.
the coat.
It's dense. And what I love about Crossvine, and same as clematis, but it doesn't shoot runners, so it's not going to take over your bed. It's very easy to control. Although Crossvine grows like a weed, up top, you can cut it back very easily and pull it off stuff. It's not going to eat anything unless you let it go for years.
And the hummingbirds are going to go crazy.
Yeah, my hummingbirds love it. Don't go too far. You'll see the morning glory that got in there.
No.
I do see it.
I'm mad at it.
Shame on the morning.
Shame on it. And then I did send Tyler one more photo. There's my Carefree Wonder Rose. That was it blooming yesterday when I got home from work. So I'm still getting a lot of blooms on that rose.
Carefree
I love
Wonder
it.
is a very good rose.
Me and Miriam, yeah, we both grow that one. I love it. I transplanted that one in the spring, and it's very happy in its new spot. It gets enough sun. It wasn't getting enough sun in its previous location, its previous
By
home.
the way, a belated birthday greeting to Miriam.
Happy birthday,
Miriam.
to Miriam.
Miriam,
You had a birthday?
happy birthday.
I think she's almost 50 now. I should not say that on the air.
David. Oh.
Almost 50.
But she's not quite.
No,
I'd
she
say
ain't there.
she's a
Well,
good 36 or so.
She's just killing it.
She's killing it.
Miriam, come on out. I'll buy you a birthday present.
Also, Miriam, send us a picture of your Carefree Wonder Rose. I want to see it. We saw a picture a couple years back, and it was stunning. I feel like it was growing over like a bench or
Miriam
something.
is the Carefree Wonder.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, get it, Tyler. All right, let's get a couple more questions in. Any shade-loving or partial shade fall flowering perennials? You talked about one. What was it?
Anemone.
Anemone.
Mine is in
Anemone.
pretty much full shade. Mine's not blooming quite yet, but it is absolutely covered in buds. It is about to be full show and gorgeous, and it's huge. It has taken up so much space. I think it's doubled in size since I planted it 2 years ago. So this is the third season.
And I know as of yesterday, we had a really healthy, good-looking crop of anemone back there, like full in their cans, just big and nice.
In
and
their
full back.
cans.
Yeah, I
I've
say that
never heard
sometimes.
you call pot cans before.
Nah, sometimes you call them cans, old school,
There you go.
whatever. But they are looking really good. Yeah, y'all, deep shade, even partial sun. I mean, they can even handle a good amount of sun actually. But anemone is a great fall blooming plant. It's so good.
It is, and I feel like you really don't see it that often.
No, it
People
flies
said.
under the radar. You don't notice it until it starts blooming in the fall, and you're like, whoa, what's that? I need that. Because
And
they
it's-
just blow in the breeze.
It's the Japanese that blooms in the fall.
Oh. Sherry says she's got some azaleas with some blooms on it.
Hey.
My flame creepers are blooming right now.
Very
They're kind
cool.
of covered in blooms.
They do that. Azaleas are weird about that. And they bred a whole new series. I say new. It's been around for a while now. But the Encore azaleas are the one, hence the name Encore. They come back on stage. And that's this time of year kind of where the Encores are starting to rebloom. But even yours, like you said, you got the flame creeper. That's not an Encore type at all. But they will still throw some bloom sometimes. You kind of mimic spring a little bit and, not necessarily
And they're
this
ready to
week.
go.
Yeah. But then they'll throw.
Well, it did cool down for a hot minute.
Yeah, it
wasn't
did.
even that long, and then it warmed up, and yeah, mine are blooming. And then Joyce Hook says spiderwort is reblooming.
Oh.
Hey, Joyce. You've been out here a lot lately.
We have seen a lot of folks out here at the nursery.
We really
this
have.
week. I've gotten to see so many people.
And Joyce is so fun. She's just so friendly and nice, and she just does her thing. And she cannot resist a sale. Can you, Joyce? Them plants were 25% off, and you were in here every other day. I saw you. We've been talking. But, yeah, we got shout-outs to all sorts of people. We got Michelle that was in yesterday. We got Emily Boyd was in here. Dina was in yesterday with your grandson, Rowan. Rowan, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. And then I've got Joyce on the list. Shout-out to all of y'all. You know, you're avid listeners, and you're also avid shoppers of our plants. And,
Yes.
we just really appreciate it. We love seeing y'all. And we love that you listen to us on Saturdays.
Yep.
We love hanging
Without
out with
you,
you on
we
Saturdays.
can't do this.
Can
Joyce
we-
did say, I made some good buys in August. Thank you for the sales, David.
Uh-huh.
Can we, Tyler?
Well,
Can we-
we try to
what?
do what we can, guys. We just try to keep people interested. We know that the weather is going to break like it appears to be on the cusp of doing. Today might be the first little indication of that as we get some rain moving into the area and cooler temperatures in the days ahead. And what we really hope that brings is everyone on out to see us here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And Josh, you know,
Yes.
I do this weekly newsletter, and in that newsletter, I try to put out there the things that people need to be mindful of, gardening tidbits, that kind of thing. But particularly during the off-peak season, we do a lot of sale type things. And this week was not the exception. We had a rather...
you struck a nerve, David.
We got people's attention. And our attention was gotten simply because it was brought to my focus that we really had way too many blue pots, and it seemed like that blue pots were just a mainstay for most gardeners, and then they kind of fell a little out of fashion. So we, through all of our renovations this summer, got to handle all these containers. I say we, really it's Caroline and Austin that got to handle them, but what we came to realize is that we just have way too many blue pots. So I came up with this idea in this week's newsletter about this blue August adieu. And what we have said is we're going to say goodbye to these blue pots, 75% off while supplies last. And I believe Tyler has got some images that he can bring up here that will show what we had yesterday morning, and then what we also that's where we were before we opened the gates yesterday morning. Quite a big selection, a lot to choose from there. And now we have
that.
Now there's still quite a selection out there. There's some
good stuff.
Great selection, but that is to demonstrate if you want to participate in this 75%. We never before have ever had such a sale. Likely won't have again. But these blue pots, well, we're giving you an opportunity to come get them at prices that are way below what we have invested in them. I will tell you that it's not a day. Sometimes you have to do things where you know that you're not really going to make money on it. But what we need to do is to make space, because we don't want to handle these pots
anymore.
Actually, Caroline and Austin don't want to handle these pots again.
No.
So,
They'll put them in your car for you. Prius.
I will.
They'll put it in
the car.
Rivian.
We don't have to cart them back onto the lot, which is really a good thing. So there's that. One thing we're not going to run out of, and you can come on out and make sure you participate in that, is Earth Mix Viagra. It's right. It's in the blue bag. So we're part of this blue sale. That is also 75% off.
That's under $5 a bag.
Okay. $4.25 a bag for the best stuff on the planet.
I'm getting $20 worth. I ain't down this.
So anyway,
20.
We invite you to come out and see us, not just for the sale items, but also for the information. Austin does a great example of talking about all the things that this one-on-one experience we try to give people, be it via phone or face-to-face. We're out here to try to talk to people, help them with their gardening issues, help them to get the right plant in the right place the first time. That's the way we do it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we're always working at bringing you the best plants, the best expertise on how to grow those plants, and also the best facilities in which to shop. We've worked really hard at it the last few years, and we've still got one little trick up our sleeve. We're going to have finished up hopefully in the next couple of weeks with this connected awning that'll go from our Baitstrium, our shade structure, up to the outdoor checkout area. So no matter which way you want to come into the checkout, you don't have to be out in the weather. So come see us. We are conveniently located 1 mile north Bridie Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike. That's just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. And Josh, no matter where you're driving from
or flying
it's
over,
worth the drive from anywhere. So come on out and see us. We've been beautifying Nashville since 1932. We really appreciate the opportunity to continue to get to be your gardening connection, your go-to source for plants, for information, and how to get it right. And that's Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So come on out and see us. But if you're going to come out for containers, Those
Better
blue
come
ones
on.
in particular, you need to get out here early this morning. We're open in just a few minutes, so perhaps you're en route already.
Should
On
be.
your
Bates
way.
Nursery and
Now,
Garden
th-
Center.
And not watching us while you're driving.
No.
No, don't do that. Let the passenger do that.
That's right. Hey,
Beautifying Nashville since 1932. So thanks for giving us a bit to talk about that, and we look forward to seeing you today and help you get your fall gardening underway, because that's the turn we're all getting ready to make. August is done, out of here.
August
After
is
today.
gone.
It's done.
Thank you.
Very good.
I did want to say the earthworm castings, houseplants love them. So if you
Yes.
haven't thought about that for your houseplants, when I repot mine, I usually mix some in with the soil. Even though it's already in our Earth Mix Indoor, which I use, I will usually put a little bit extra or top dress stuff in the spring if I'm not going to repot it. But I'm telling you, your houseplants are going to thank you for
Highly
it.
fertile.
Oh, it's good stuff. But yeah, hey, folks, get back to the pottery. I was picking on them a little bit about the big ones. Those big pots, if you put them, let's say you got a corner of your house that you've really not had a lot of success with. You take one of those big pots and you put your annuals in on top of it, or you get that columnar one because there's 2 or 3 or 4 big tall ones out there. Drop that in your bed out there in the front and mix it in. Let something drape down. Come on, Austin. I mean, that'd be the way to go.
That's what
I'm
I've got in
all
my
about it.
landscaping.
Uh-huh.
I've got some juniper spilling over some tall Atlantis style pots.
Around that pool, oh my goodness,
Ooh.
that color around the pool, folks.
I know, and we had a lot of questions yesterday about the pots and being like, well, I don't want to have to, move this in every year. It's too heavy. It's too big. I'm like, no. I've
it
had
out.
big ceramic pots on my front porch for the past 4 years through all the winters we've had, the nasty cold, whatever. Not even thinking about cracking, y'all. These pots that we have outside are made for outdoor applications. They just stay outside.
Yep.
Like, don't put houseplants. I mean, you can put houseplants in them. Don't get me wrong. You can leave them in your house. But if you wanted to just keep them outside, like, grow outdoor plants in them. The pots are not going to crack. They are great.
In the
I've had some
foyer
for
of the
years.
house, you have something right there, or you get it out there in the sunroom, or you're out in that outdoor living area that everybody's got an outdoor living area anymore. You got to put these out there and have something out there.
You got to get pots. Listen, there are pots everywhere, but we
Right.
also do sell plants here
Yes,
at
you
Bates
do.
Nursery and Garden Center, and we have some plants in this room right now.
What's in room with Caroline?
All right, I have to say, this display that I made today is probably one of my favorites that I've ever done.
Wow.
Usually Austin helps me with it.
Couldn't
He
yesterday.
He couldn't. He
I
was
was
too
loading
busy
pots.
loading pots. I don't do it every time, but this time I am proud of what I have put together. So behind us, we've just got a lot of dark leaf crepe myrtle, and I brought it in because, one, they look great on the lot. We have so many. They're blooming right now around town, but I'm still a little bit mad at mine because it is not even throwing any buds. I don't think I'm going to get any blooms on my crepe myrtle this year, and that's okay.
That's okay.
But we've just got a sampling of them. We've got some below the TV, some in the corners, tree form. We've got bush form. We've got it all, and they all look so happy and healthy. And then in front of us, if you have been watching the show and you're like, what is this beautiful mountainous looking something that's in front of them? It looks like tiny little flowers blooming. This is Rockin' Mound sedum. So it's a lower growing sedum. I believe it's autumn fire sedum. It's more upright. It flops. I'm a little bit mad at it right now. Even though it's in full bloom, it does look good, but I just hate how it flops. I might get some of these and replace it. So you can see how low they grow, how they mound. Look at Austin's just hitting it
Look,
like
you
a
hit
little
'em and
cat.
and they all do stuff together. That's
And
cool.
they dance together.
Yeah.
You're making them dance. Don't hit them too hard. Be careful. And then in front of that, we have some stone crop. It's Angelina. Look at that yellow new growth. If it's getting a lot of sun, it'll be a little bit more yellow, more orange. I mean, it's going crazy. I was telling Tyler, because he was helping me bring stuff into the green room yesterday. And I do a rooftop install each year, and the guy that I was doing the install for had some pots with this in it that he had just put up there after I had left. And he was like, I don't know about this. Is it doing okay? It was gorgeous. It had filled in these broken terracotta pots and was just spilling over. And I was there in early April, so it had overwintered up there and looked fantastic. So if you want kind of a deserty southwest look, if you've got a dry, hot, full sun spot, that is a great plant for you. And then in front, I brought in some Arizona cypress. This is quick frost. We got some little, I think they're 2 gallons in at the nursery. Yeah, tiny little guys.
my
I kind of want
goodness.
some. I might bring some home and plant them. Austin doesn't like them, but I like the look of them.
I'm not a big fan of Arizona cypress.
Why? Is it just the color?
The color, I don't know.
How big do they get?
They get big.
They
Big?
They get
Okay.
fat before they get tall.
And I
So
like
know
that. I might plant some down by my road. Maybe I'll take 2 home today.
What's Mr. Spiky?
Who's Mr. Spiky?
Yeah,
right
who-
there?
yeah.
That is Northwind switchgrass.
The
So I
goat.
got that in for Austin.
Okay.
Right
You-
between
we-
the cameras.
We all, it's framed between those cameras.
We did that on purpose. No, we didn't.
Yes, we kind of did. Austin actually did help me place that one.
I did place. That's the only touch I've had in this
And
whole
we
green room
all
today.
know how much he loves the Northwind switchgrass. I really
good.
love it as well. I've got some, but I have kind of switched gears a little bit on the grasses I love. And we'll talk about that in just... Don't give me that look. I still love Northwind. It's clean. It's great privacy, but I'm a fan of something else. But
Okay.
before we talk about that, we've got sensational lavender in front of our hot plate, our feature plant. Tyler kind of
There it is.
there it is. I mean, look at that silvery blue color. It smells amazing. I love the lavender that I have planted at my house. I've got phenomenal, not sensational. This one looks gorgeous and
Phenomenal.
smells amazing. And then now let's talk about that grass. So I have become a huge fan of little blue stem in the last year. Now I still do love switchgrass. Northwind switchgrass is still one of my favorites. But little blue stem, there's something about how it mounds, how it stays low, and then the blooms go up so high that you can plant it in front of stuff, and it's going to give you some texture in your garden beds. Now, this is just the straight species that we got in here at the nursery. It is native. It's fantastic. It's drought tolerant. It helps with erosion. I mean, you can't go wrong with really any kind of the grass that I brought in today. But that's what we have in room.
Great
My little blue
work.
stem haha tonka is about to be full show, and I'm so excited.
It is a good plant.
It really is.
Blue stem's a great plant. Mm-hmm. Like you said, native, got cool colors in it, blooms tall.
I've got purple arrow little blue stem planted in front of my crepe myrtle that's not blooming, but my purple arrow is about to bloom. So it's okay that the crepe myrtle is not blooming, even though I'm still a little bit upset. But thank you guys for going on this little tour. I'm going to take home some of those cypress today.
All right.
Josh might take some home too.
No, better not.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Better not.
Better not.
Better not.
Okay.
I'm on another mission today.
A pottery mission today.
Bird bath.
A bird bath.
We have one.
One?
You better get in there and get it.
Okay.
Right, so we talked about lavender a little bit that we have in room. We do have a question. My lavender is brown on the inside, but still looks good up top. Should I cut it back now?
I probably wouldn't cut it back now, but this is very, very common for lavender to get kind of yuck on the interior of the plant. And it's just, like I said, it's a very common thing to happen. I mean, if
mine
you-
looks like that right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you did cut it back, it'd probably be fine if it's happy and healthy. I mean, it should. I just don't really recommend cutting it back now. You kind of let it do its thing until winter comes around, and then you kind of observe it through winter, because honestly, lavender can get a little yuck over the winter too, because we're usually pretty wet, which is one thing they just do not like. So I've grown lavender in the ground in my house, and usually I'll let it just kind of be rangy and leggy through kind of the worst, January and February, and then I give it a clear cut to the dirt, and then whenever it's warm enough in the spring, it just comes back from the roots and it's clean. So that's kind of my practice. But like I said, if you cut it back now, you're probably not going to hurt anything. It's just not necessarily recommended.
It's hard to look at. Mine that's in full all-day sun planted by my sidewalk, that's the one that's browning. I think it's gotten so hot. Now I have some that are in, I don't want to say partial shade, but they've been shaded by a limelight that has grown up over summer, and those actually are doing fantastic. They're not browning at all,
Nice.
even though they've gotten a little dry and floppy. We have a clematis question. Clematis is struggling and bushy at the base and does not want to climb. Any tips? Sounds like it might just be growing over its the little bamboo stakes that it comes on.
Could be. I mean,
just
you
a
might
thought.
need to just kind of help it up. I don't know if it's bushy and like flopping
Yeah,
down.
yell at it. Say, hey, get on up here,
on
man.
up.
Yeah.
Like
Start
maybe
climbing.
grab some of the stems and like get them actually attached to some sort of trellis system, and then they might kind of help them work them up a little bit. But I mean, it's good that it's bushy at the base. That means it's healthy right now, so that's a good start. But I mean, it should
Got
it's
enough
definitely
sun?
a vine.
Sometimes you have to help them. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
find the end of each little vine and start wrapping it up, whatever I want it to grow up, help train it up. Sometimes I use twine so it starts climbing that, and then it can get to the trellis, and then the twine disintegrates and goes away.
You see Donna's question?
Already on there.
You see Donna's?
Donna said I planted Northwind this spring and love it.
Yeah, Donna.
Northwind is great.
Donna
It's
wants,
so good.
She also wants to know what the Donna Crowley. It's a different Donna. Wants to know what the white bugs are flying all over every place. We talked about it, but it's the
Woolly aphids.
Woolly aphids.
They're everywhere. Everybody's got them.
Don't
They
worry
get
about
all over me at my house here. They'll be gone soon enough, though.
Yeah, it won't be too much longer.
Your car probably doesn't look great right now.
No.
Maybe like mine.
Ugh.
It's not good. Can you all recommend any conifers that will survive Nashville summers?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh,
There's
yes.
tons.
I mean, probably the best one for me is going to be our native, what y'all think of as cedar trees, but technically junipers. So Junipers virginiana, if you ever find that genus and species, that's going to live here just great. That's our native junipers that live here, and it's a conifer, and they handle winters, summers, whatever. Drought, like, doesn't matter. That's probably my go-to when it comes to Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, my what was
and
that?
the cultivar Taylor juniper is from that species of plant. So, and good thing about a Taylor juniper, if you're looking for something that's columnar that doesn't spread out too much, it gives you the same foliar look as the eastern red cedar, like you see around in the native woodland. It just does it in a much more slender fashion. So, if you have a limited spread in a spot where you need to have that upright height, it's a really good choice. And this particularly with respect, and I think what the question is geared towards, a lot of conifers don't like the dry and the heat. That's not an issue really with the conifer so much as it is with the care that they're receiving during the summer months. You cannot, particularly on things like arborvitae, they do not thrive on neglect during extended hot, dry spells. They must be continue to be watered. They never get to the point where you can just let them go on autopilot. When the conditions are rough.
My Mugo does great here.
My Mugo died.
Did you?
It did. It was in a pot, and it didn't make it through the
Don
winter.
Redwood is amazing this year. So.
Oh, yeah, Don Redwood. I was going to say my weeping Alaskan cedar. I have quite a few conifers, some different types of things all in my yard. That one has outperformed any of my other ones. I haven't watered it at all. It's been in the ground 2 years, so I haven't watered it all this summer, and it is stunning right now.
Yeah.
It's pushing new growth right now, and it is just, it doesn't have any brown. I never have to remove anything. I'm sure I'll have some issues with it as it matures, lose some limbs, but that one is a showstopper. It's planted near my house. It's weeping. It's just,
Yeah, you wouldn't think of a plant that's named weeping Alaskan cedar would live well in Middle Tennessee, but it does. You're right. Like, I've seen specimens, and it does very well
It's so
here.
clean, too. So if you're looking for something that's a little more unusual, and it still gives privacy, this one gets a little bit whiter at the base, and
It's kind of one of those feature plants that you like put in that feature spot where you like up a light or light up it or something, and then you build like stuff around it.
a little
like,
bit
that's
spooky looking.
That's a cool plant for that. Good.
David,
What about bald cypress, deciduous conifer?
That's a deciduous conifer. So if
So is
you're
my
into that, I
dog.
mean, it's just it's a large growing tree.
Yeah.
If you have the space.
Yes.
But
my
Josh
Don,
mentioned
my
Don
Don
Redwood.
Redwood is massive.
Mine
but,
is too. Mine
and
is gorgeous.
Yeah. Annette wants to know what the conifer you recommended was, David. She says she didn't quite catch it. Which one was it?
Taylor juniper.
Taylor juniper.
Yes.
Right, and it is a Juniperus virginiana, as Austin was mentioning. It's just a selected cultivar. Am I correct, Austin? That I think that was found in Nebraska, was it not?
You're correct. Shout out Bridge.
Yes, we want to make sure we didn't get a bridge mentioned in this. So, Bridget, yes, to your Cornhusker State. The cultivar was found there. It's
Yeah.
the same genus and species. It's just a selected cultivar that had this tremendous, what we call fastigate,
Oh,
growth
excuse
habit,
you.
which means
Don't you say
upright
bad
and
words.
columnar in Latin terminology.
Oh,
So
okay.
there you go. Taylor.
Tay
Right.
junipers.
Tay junipers,
Tay
that's what you need.
junipers.
Yep.
If Miss Swift wanted to have one, she could have her own Taylor
She could.
Swift.
Yes, she could. Tay junipers. And then Barbara asked, is autoleucon cherry laurel a different plant from autoleucon laurel or the same plant?
It's the same plant. That's just common names being thrown around. Cherry laurels are, I mean, a lot of people say cherry laurels. A lot of people just say regular laurels or whatever. As long as you're giving us that specific cultivar name, which is autoleucin, that is going to be a laurel, cherry laurel, either way. That's why in this game, like all of us, we talk mainly in botanical names. That way we know exactly what we're talking about, whereas common names can get confusing sometimes.
And it confuses me when they do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not hard to do. It's not that hard to do. Annette wants to know, do you have a Taylor juniper?
Josh.
I know, you're mean. Okay. But Annette wants to know if we have, if there are any of the Tay junipers here.
I saw quite a few outside the green room this morning when I walked in.
Very good.
We got some awesome crop of them right now. Looking nice. Coming in 6 foot tall, pencil thin, and money.
Just like Taylor.
Money.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, folks. That's the kind of stuff that you get here on Gardening Inside Out. And hey, next Saturday morning, we're going to come back. Hey, get out here to the nursery and get what's left of the blue pots. Find that big station out there.
Plenty
and get
of Viragra now.
Viragra. Best sale ever.
That likely.
Because we're going to get it going. Hey, for everybody out there, we appreciate you joining us every Saturday morning. You can catch the podcast anytime you want to, because it comes out once a week as well. So see what's
on
going
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday, okay. Next Saturday morning, we'll be here from the green room, and hopefully the Vols will come away with a win today. I don't think they have to worry about it. But for everybody here, we do appreciate you once again. We'll see you next Saturday morning. Bye.